Hey folks, welcome to Seaway Whiskywire. Well guys, I know I'm a Scotch focused channel, but over 2024 I was introduced to a ton of different things, from bourbon to Irish whiskey to rye here, and I did quite a few reviews on those whiskeys, as you can see. So what were my favorites? What were the best ones that I can recommend to you? Well, here we go guys. I'm going to give you my top 5 non-Scotches that I reviewed in 2024. So go watch the intro, come on back, and let's go and take a look. Stick around guys. Well, hey guys, thanks for coming back after the intro. I'm Tyler, and like I said, today we're going to go through the top 5 non-Scotch whiskeys that I reviewed in 2024. So what I'm probably going to do is go through them here one by one. They're really in no particular order, just the ones that I enjoyed in the top 5. This was a really tough one for me to compile for sure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the links to all the videos in the descriptions below. Some of them are actually they're actually pretty back in my early days of YouTube, so you're welcome to go check those out if you're interested. But we'll go through them. I do have a mystery report in my dram tonight. It is one of them on the list, but you're going to have to wait and see what that is. Hint, it is Canadian, and it was very, very highly touted by me all year round. So if you're a fan of the channel and you hung around and seen a lot of my videos, you probably already know what this is. But yeah, without that, let's get on to the list here, and let's see what I chose for my top 5 non-Scotch whiskeys of 2024, guys. Let's go. All right, guys, the first entry on my list is a whiskey that I reviewed all the way back in March of 2024. And if you guys can remember correctly, that was Irish Whiskey Month, and this is in fact an Irish whiskey. It's one that I highly recommended, to you guys to go out and try because I thought you'd really enjoy it. And that is going to be the Clonakilty Double Oak Cask. Coming in from Ireland, it's an Irish whiskey at 43.6% ABV. This naturally presented whiskey is matured in both ex-American oak and ex-European oak. And Clonakilty is a cool distillery. It's kind of on the coastline there in Ireland, so there's a little bit of a coastal note to this as well. You get these wicked Irish whiskey characters that you're so used to, you know, the fresh apples, the toffee, the honey, etc. But then you kind of get this neat little coastal impact to it. Not like a briny note or anything like that, like you get from like a Scotch or an Islay Scotch, but this just this nice bit of salt as well. And the palate has got a nice boost of kick of ginger, and I really enjoyed that. So along with all the apples and fresh fruits and those red berries, honey, toffee notes and all that, you get this nice little cinnamon and ginger kind of kick at the back end, and I was really impressed with it. And this was probably the one Irish whiskey that I did try during Irish Whiskey Month, my first real soiree into Irish whiskey that I really enjoyed. And it's quite economical and quite available too. So my first pick for the top 5 non-Scotches that I reviewed in 2024 is going to be the Clonakilty Double Oak Cask. All right, guys, we're back with number 2 on the list. And number 2 on the list is a whiskey that I reviewed not too long ago, back in the fall time period there, I believe it was. It was a great warmer, a really bold player, and something that I really liked because, you know, it was, number 1, it was very punchy, but number 2, it really played to the character that I like from my ryes. And yes, it is a rye, and it's an American rye, and it's going to be the Senator by Proof and Wood. The Senator by Proof and Wood, this was a donation to the channel by the folks over at Proof and Wood, so hey, thank you guys very much for sending this over. Really enjoyed it. Obviously, you know, if it made this list, I really enjoyed it. But this one's really great. Aged for 6 years, this straight rye is big and bold, comes in with an ABV of 58.05% at barrel proof, naturally presented, and it gives you all the information you need really just on the back here. It gives you the mash bill of 95% rye, 5% malted barley, and you know, it really plays to the flavors that I like. It's these really dark cherry notes, dark chocolate, a little bit of bitter coffee on there as well. Then you get those caramels and those vanillas, but it packs such a wallop, and it's really smooth at that 6-year mark. You can add a little bit of water to play with it a little bit, but I actually really enjoy it drinking it neat. And you know what? It is a little bit hot, but you know what? It warms you up and it makes you smile. So my pick for number 2 for the top 5 non-Scotches that I reviewed in 2024 is going to be the Senator by Proof and Wood. All right, guys, we're back with number 3. And number 3 is going to be our first bourbon of the list. And this is one that I really enjoyed. It was one of the earlier bourbons that I did review. I believe it was back in early spring that I reviewed this, but I tried it back in February when I was at a festival called Whiskey Wonderland. And if you haven't had a chance to go check out Whiskey Wonderland, or you don't know what it is, I'm going to put a link to it down below here. Make sure you go check this out, and if you're able to attend, even better. It's a great event, and it's annual, and this year it's in Ottawa, and I'm looking forward to going in February. But anyways, back then I tried this bourbon. I really enjoyed it. I talked to the folks, the company that were nice enough to send some over to the channel for review, and my golly, I'm glad they did. And that is going to be the Yellowstone Select. The Yellowstone Select is a great bourbon, and I'm going to tell you why right now. You know, it's nothing too big to gawk at here. 46.5% ABV, combination of 4 and 7-year-old bourbons. I believe it's all coming from the MGP distillery for Luxrow. But it is a great bourbon, very well balanced, very easy sipper, nice profile. You get those caramels, you get that oak, you get that vanilla, but it's not too sweet. It's more Scotch-like in my opinion, and that's really what drove me to this one here. I do have an honorable mention for this category as well, just because it's tougher to get, and you know, I think you should actually go out and try and locate this bottle. I know I'm definitely going to go try and get some more of it, but it's Yellowstone Special Finishes Collection. This one here is the toasted one. It comes in at 100 proof or 50% ABV, but it uses toasted oak staves as well. And this is a great bottle to seek out and try and find if you can. It's not available in my area, but it is great. But don't get too hung up on the toasted stave special collection. I believe very highly that you need to start here with Yellowstone. It's a great sipper, great around the campfire, and you know what? It just is so approachable and so nice. You know, the worst thing I could say about this particular release was how bad the cork was. So with that, guys, my number 3 selection for top 5 non-Scotches that I reviewed this year is going to be the Yellowstone Select. All right, guys, we're back with number 4, and number 4 is not what's in my glass here. I can tell you that number 4 is a Canadian whiskey. It was a whiskey that I reviewed back in the fall, and it's a whiskey that I obtained in the summertime this year, and it was great. I actually got to go to the distillery. I got to meet the master distiller. I got to chat with him a little bit about this whiskey and why it was so important to him, and really got to try a whole slew of different whiskeys from this distillery, and I'm glad I did and was given the opportunity. And if you haven't already guessed it, my number 4 selection is going to be the Gretzky Signature Rye from the Wayne Gretzky Distillery in Ontario, Canada, up at Niagara-on-the-Lake. Coming in at 50% ABV, naturally presented, which I missed in my first video, so I apologize, Tim, for that and that miss there, but naturally presented. 5 years of age on this particular Canadian rye, and it's matured in American virgin oak barrels and once used recharred American oak. And this was my favorite whiskey of the fall. You're gonna get some crazy flavors in here, guys. You know, you get those apples, those honey notes, the vanilla. I almost associate it with a candied apple. You know, like those red candied apples there, and you know, some wonderful caramel, and you almost get those little bit of dark chocolate coffee notes as well in there. This is another one, you know, 50% ABV, but it's smooth and it drinks very smooth. I really appreciate it, really like it, and I'm a big fan of rye, and this is one of my favorite ryes of this year, and one of my favorite whiskeys of this year. And it almost was what was in this glass, but you're gonna have to hang around a little bit longer to see what that is. So my number 4 pick for my top 5 non-Scotch whiskeys that I reviewed this year is the Gretzky Signature Rye. All right, guys, I'm back with number 5, and number 5 is the whiskey that's in my glass tonight from a Great Canadian Distillery. This is a whiskey that might be a little bit triggering to some folks, so just to give you a fair warning there, you might be a little triggered when I reveal what this is, just because it's a whiskey that is hard to come by, and this particular whiskey is not available anymore at all. I don't believe you can get it. Maybe on the secondary it's available, but you can't buy it from their distillery or online or anything like that anymore. When these guys produce anything, it's really tough to get a hold of. But you know what? I thought it only fitting to make this, you know, my top pick for my top 5 non-Scotch whiskeys that I reviewed in 2024. Just because even if you can't get this particular release, this is a little distillery on the West Coast that you really need to look at, you really need to pay attention to, and you really should be seeking out and taking advantage of getting a bottle of anything that they produce. And if you haven't already guessed it, it's going to be the Realms of Rye Series 1 release from Sons of Vancouver from North Vancouver, British Columbia. They were nice enough to send me over this bottle to the channel. I was completely floored when I received it. I couldn't believe they sent this over, and I've been really working my way through it very slowly and very sparingly, but really very much enjoying this particular release from the folks over at Sons of Vancouver. And the Realms of Rye comes in, it's 100% rye whiskey, obviously, and it's all Canadian rye whiskey, British Columbia rye whiskey for that matter. Naturally presented, it comes in at 59.4% ABV, matured in new oak casks and ex-bourbon casks. This dram is absolutely slaps. It's absolutely bonkers. and it will change the way you see rye. It definitely changed the way I saw rye. You know, rye's always been this very divisive, makes a very divisive spirit, very hot, very peppery, very spicy, punchy, and big. And you know what? All the flavors in here are punchy and big, but they tone that spice right down. You get some lovely notes on it here, like the nose. I get some nice maple syrup on there. I get some vanilla and some big oranges, big juicy orange oily oils from the orange, apricots, and just some mint on the end there, and on the palate, on the palate. (59.4%). Does not drink that way at all. Very smooth, very nice, very well balanced. You get those lovely honey notes, toffee, apricot, vanilla, and then you get this orange, like this big juicy orange. Terry's chocolate orange in there, maybe a little bit too. You get some chocolate and some light coffee in there. The back end, it's all botanicals. It's a little bit of lemongrass in there, mixed with some mint, and it's just such a fresh dram, and really did change my opinion on what rye whiskey should be. Again, this particular release that I've got here is release 1. This was bottle number 226 of 303. So I mean, they're gone. Beautiful packaging. Has this nice cedar box that it comes in here, and they give you so much information on the back of it and about it. And I just can't thank the folks over at Sons of Vancouver enough. James, Jenna, thank you guys so much for sending this down to the Seaway for me to check out and review, and just enjoy all the great things you guys are doing. And that's really what I wanted to highlight with this, is that these guys are doing some fantastic stuff out there in North Vancouver. Sons of Vancouver Distillery, you need to pay attention to what they're doing. They do different releases. They're under release number 2 of Rums of Rye. I've not tried it yet. I've heard some great things from some other YouTubers on it. They do scatter releases through the year, and basically you got to get on a mailing list to even try and purchase these. So I'm going to put a link to their website down here. You need to go sign up for the mailing list and get on there, because if you want a taste of anything that they produce, you got to go through them. So yeah, I'll leave you guys with that. But that's my list of the top 5 non-Scotches that I reviewed in 2024. It was extremely tough, but you know what? I've got to do another one here about the Scotches, and I think that is going to be even tougher. But you know what? Just wanted to quickly thank all my partners that were nice enough to send stuff to the channel. Folks over at Sons of Vancouver. I had some stuff sent over from Bushmills as well, Lux Row, Proof and Wood. They were all fabulous. I do have some other stuff coming in here in the new year that didn't quite make the list just because I haven't had a chance to review it. Some lovely stuff from the guys over at Bridgeland as well. We're going to get into that very shortly. But that was the list of the stuff that I reviewed, and I really enjoyed it. It really opened my eyes to bourbon, to rye, and to Irish whiskey, and I really want to kind of dive more, especially into the Irish portion of that there. But leave you with that. So if you guys like what we're doing here at Seaway Whiskey Wire, you guys know that drill. Like and subscribe down below. And hey, don't forget to check me out on Instagram at Seaway Whiskey Wire for more content, more pictures. I'm going to have some pictures of the filming of this here if you want to check that out. And you know what? If you guys are still hanging around this long into the video, as always, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I love coming down here to the basement after a long day of work, or in this case, Christmas shopping and whatnot, to come down here and really kind of flex my chops and try and figure out what I was gonna do for a list here. I will tell you, the list was created probably a couple weeks ago, and I changed it about 6 times, and it was a very tough one to come up with and accomplish. But you know what? The only one thing that I will say that didn't change was number 1 on the list. That never did change. That was a quick and easy one for sure. So yeah, again, go check out Sons of Vancouver. You'll be glad you did. All right, guys, with that, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to finish up my nice dram of Rums of Rye, release 1 in my Highland glass. I'm really going to enjoy it. Really nice and warming, and very, very orangey and botanicals and lovely. And I'm so thankful to get it. So cheers, all the best. Take care. I'll see you around, guys. Bye for now.